Okay, we are continuing with the review for Chapter 6, Section 6.1 through 6.3, and Section 6.5. And in this little example here, we are trying to find the roots of the equation, and fortunately for us, it's given to us in factored form. You could see those parentheses there. Okay, when it's given to us in factored form, you just set the factors equal to 0 and solve. So on this part of it's very easy. You get 7/2. The other part of it, you could try the star on it. It doesn't work. And you can actually tell that ahead of time by doing the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. So let's just do that. If that doesn't turn out to be a perfect square, you know you can't factor it, so the star is a waste of time. So what we have here is 12 for the b, and that would be 144 when you square it. There's a permanent 4, and then you multiply it by the a value, which is 1. We'll sneak a little 1 in there. And the c value, which is at -8. Okay. When you multiply this out, you get 176. And that's not a perfect square. It's between 12 times 12, which is 144, and 13 times 13, which is 169. Actually, it's between 169, which is 13 times 13, and 14 times 14 is 196. So this is not a perfect square. And that means we actually have to abandon the factoring idea and go with the quadratic formula. Now, that's not a total wash because we've already figured out the discriminant. The opposite of b is -12. You square that, you get 144 minus 4 times 1 times -8, and we've already figured out the 176 that goes under there. And down here is 2 times the a value. So this is -12 plus or minus the square root of 176 over 2. And we're going to see if we can break apart this 176. So I'm going to switch in a second here to the calculator to figure out how to break this apart. So 176 divided by x is what we want to show on our calculator. Give me a second, I'll pull it up. All right, so let me clear what's here and go to the y equals key. I'll clear what's there, and you're going to type 176 divided by x. Then you can hit the second and the table settings, which is above the window. And you want to set this start at 1. I'm going to hit clear on there and hit 1. And it should be in automatic mode. So you're ready at this point, if yours looks like mine. Hit the second key and the table, which is on the right side above graph. And you see the different ways of breaking apart 176. Among them, 1 times 176, that's that top line there. And right below it would be 2 times 88. Now, when you're trying to break up a square root, you want to come over to the side that has bigger numbers. At least starts with bigger numbers. So you want to try and find a perfect square. We've already discussed that that one isn't. 88 is not a perfect square, neither is 44. 22 is not a perfect square, but when you get down here to 16, you've hit pay dirt. 16 times 11 is the correct way to split this one up. So now I'm going to go back to my paper and write 16 for the first radical and 11 for the second. If you take the square root of 16, you get 4. And then you can cancel in the triad here. So let me show you what that looks like. Divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and divide that by 2. And just clean it up. You got your answer here, which is 6 plus and minus 2 root 11. And that's over 1, but I'm just going to leave that off. All right, so we're done with that problem. And we've got those two answers and the one we circled earlier. So cubic expressions should have 3 answers. Cubic equations should have 3 answers. Okay, this one here is not as nice because it doesn't come at us in factored form. It comes at us in standard form. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to program our calculator to graph this and find the x-intercepts to get our first answer. Once you have the first answer, it breaks it open. So let me return to the calculator here. And I'm going to type x cubed, yep. Go to my y equals key, clear out the old stuff, and type x cubed plus 4x squared minus 22x minus 112. I better double check that. I think that's what I had. Oh, it's 28x. So let me fix that. All right, I got to go back and type an 8 right there. And now I'm going to hit zoom 6 to graph it. And I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like it crosses at -4. I could just say trace -4 and enter, and I could confirm that really quickly. But I'm going to show you the other way to do it. You hit the second key and the calculate menu, which is above the trace key, and you want the second choice. Now, using your left arrow, go until you see that cursor. Just keep hitting the left arrow until you see the cursor show up. It should be coming in there soon. There it is. And you want to get as close as you can to being right on top of the answer. And then when it says left bound, go 2 or 3 clicks past it to the left and hit enter. And now once you go back there and go a little bit to the right of it, which is on the other side, hit enter again. And when it says guess, hit enter once more. And you'll see that the value really is -4. You could have got that quickly by saying trace -4 enter, but that's sort of a guess and check method, and it doesn't always work. Okay, so now I know -4 is one of the answers. So what you're going to do is leverage that answer. -4, you know, is a 0. And that means we should be getting 0 on the far right-hand side. Copy the 1, multiply by -4. Here you get 0, multiply by -4. Add those and you get -28. Multiply by -4 and you get 112. And that zeroes out like you expected. Okay, so if you back up, this is the equation you're now solving. And we're going to bring that over here to solve it. I'm going to leave the 0x out when I copy it. So take the 28 over. And you want to square root both sides. Don't forget there's 2 versions of it, so the plus or minus sign. And without using my calculator, I'm just going to say that 4 goes into 28. So here you get 2 answers, positive and -2 root 7. And those are the answers along with this one. So you have to circle all 3 of them. It's probably a good idea to circle the one you put over there immediately once you put it on paper, because it's the most likely to be forgotten. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to copy down the numbers before I leave the screen here. Let's see, there's a 9 and a -66 and a 145 and a 100, a -100. Okay, so now when I go to my calculator, I'm going to type that in. And you're going to go to your y equals key, clear out the old one, and type in the new one. 9x cubed minus 66x squared plus 145x minus 100. Hit zoom 6 to see what the graph looks like. And it's kind of hard to tell that first set of roots there, but I think it also crosses at 4. So I'm going to hit trace 4, enter. And sure enough, it zeroes out there. So your answer is 4 that you're going to use to crack this open. So now we know 4 goes into this. Circle it before you forget it. Now we already know what we should be getting on the far end. It should be 0 down there. 9 times 4. This is going to give negative 120. Multiplying by 4 gives 100. And we're in luck. It zeroes out. Okay, back up, put a plus sign there and an x there and an x squared there. And what you may notice at this point is that this will factor very easily. It's a perfect square trinomial, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. 3x and 3x gives the 9x squared, 5 and 5 to get the back. And you borrow the sign from the middle one. And then you set these equal to 0. I'm only going to do it once because it's the same answer both times. So take the 5 over and divide by 3 here. So it looks like there's only 2 answers here, but there's really 3 because this one also gives the same answer. So it's 5/3 on both of those factors. And the third answer is that x equals 4. Okay, so that does it for the last 3 problems here through 27. Hope that's helpful to you.